For example, if you set it at 30%, that means after you've sent a quote to the customer, the chance of closing the deal or generating revenue is about 30%. Then, when you move to the send sample stage, that is, when you send a sample, the win probability increases to 50%. Welcome to Module 2 in the CRM drawing series for export businesses. In this second module, we'll explore and customize the stages to fit the needs of an export company. This is within the HubSpot CRM. Let's get right into the main content. The stages that you and I will be adjusting consist of 3 main elements. I already shared about these important details in the very first lesson, so if you haven't watched lesson 1 yet, you should definitely watch it before viewing this video. The 3 key elements are Lifecycle stage, status, and new stage. These 3 elements allow you to track your sales process, that is, your sales workflow. In the Lifecycle stage, you'll find the different stages, which are the phases where you gradually turn a stranger into a customer. Your customer. In other words, it's about turning a company or a contact that you've never known or interacted with before into a buyer. So what stages do they go through? First, there's the subscriber stage. Subscribers are people who have just signed up. Maybe they've registered to receive information from you, or they've shown some interest in your product or service. The second stage is lead. Once a customer has signed up, you move them into your funnel, which we call the lead funnel. This is where you work to convert leads into buyers. The marketing team's job is to qualify these leads, and then the sales team will contact the leads to further qualify them, meaning to verify whether these leads are truly potential customers. After that, when a lead starts to show a need or requests a quote, perhaps for the very first time, you offer your product to them, you give them a quote. At this point, this lead becomes an opportunity lead, which means there is a sales opportunity with this lead. When you make the offer, they become a customer. Customer means client, right? There's a term not many of you knew until now, evangelist. Here in English, it means evangelist. So what does evangelist mean here? When a cuz becomes a professional group. I bought equipment and invited others. They saw that the product was good, the service was good, and they started to introduce it, spreading the word to other customers about your products. This is what we call an evangelist. Honestly, before I didn't even know this term, right? It was only when I started working in this field that I understood this term. This is actually a stage used by large companies who want to measure how well their company serves customers so well that customers go out and spread the word to others. That's when they add this evangelist step. And finally, there's other. Other is a category for customers who don't fit into the previous cases. For example, customers who have already purchased but then stop buying, or they stop traveling with the company altogether. We can still include them in the other category. After working for a while, I realized that for any customer segment that I serve in the export business, I will try my best to retain them. As for the segments that I find unnecessary, I will cut them out. Why? Because the more complicated and cumbersome your process is, the more bloated it becomes, and you'll end up feeling overwhelmed. That's why I want to emphasize that, as I'm currently doing, I will only keep the segments that are truly needed. I will keep these green highlighted steps in the live sales cost process for export-import businesses, focusing on 2 steps, marketing qualified, and let's look at steps in the qualified and lead phases. For businesses, it might feel a bit confusing at first, especially for businesses just starting out, or for small and medium-sized businesses. You can actually skip these 2 stages. You don't need to track them. That means a lead goes directly from lead to opportunity. Whenever you send a quotation to a customer, it jumps directly to this stage, and you can skip those 2 steps. This way, things are simpler and you just keep the customer stage. Right. As for the evangelist stage, like I mentioned earlier, unless you're a large company, you can skip this step. For newer or smaller companies, you can remove the evangelist stage to keep your process streamlined. You should keep the other stage. So your sales process will simply go from subscriber to lead, from lead to opportunity, from opportunity to customer, and finally to other. Now, let's look at the setup in HubSpot to see where these stages are positioned. We'll also customize them in real time. Let's move on to the demo section, and it'll open the App Store for you to see. I've already logged in here, but for those of you who don't have an account yet, you can refer to Lesson 1 to learn how to create a free account on HubSpot. Just use the link Visachakam to access HubSpot. Okay? To customize the Lifecycle stage, please click on the gear icon here. This is the Settings section. Right now, I'm using English as the language, and I also encourage you to do the same. This way, you can get familiar with the terminology while also improving your English. Next, just scroll down here for me, and then you'll go to the section called in the Objects section. Then, please click on Lifecycle Stage, for mine it's located right here. Here you can view. This is your Lifecycle stage, and it will include with all the steps like this. Now, if you want to customize it, all you need to do is add a new state by clicking Add State here. If you want to delete any state, just hover your mouse over it and select Delete. For example, if I want to delete the Evangelist state, you just need to delete it. Then it will ask you, you are about to delete the Lifecycle state Evangelist. This action cannot be undone, meaning it cannot be completed. So this action cannot be undone, okay? You'll go ahead and choose Delete. Now, for those of you who are doing the same as me, for example, if I want to delete these two states, marketing qualified and sales qualified. However, you see there's a number 1 here. Do you know what this number 1 means? In use means that these two are currently being used in a certain field or in a certain board within HubSpot. That's why, at the moment, it doesn't allow you to delete them. Before you can delete them, you need to remove this field from that list or from that field, then you'll be able to delete it. So, let's click to see where it's currently being used. Here, you'll see the usage state here. It's in an active list. It's currently included here, so I'll click on it. If this is your first time creating an account, you definitely won't see this, because it only appears if you've already used it. Since I've already used it, it's showing up here, so now we'll delete it by Edit Filter. I'm using this split channel. I delete this, then I save. Once I've saved successfully, it'll go back to in the settings section of this Lifecycle. Then it'll click refresh, or you can simply press F5, or you can refresh the scan. When you scroll down again, you'll see that the user count here is now 0. When it shows 0, that's when you can actually start deleting it. At this point, it'll go ahead and delete it directly. Yes, it'll delete it straight away. Now at this point, in our Lifecycle, everything is very streamlined. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Now you just need to apply your process. Go through these stages until you reach customer, and that's good. If we scroll up a bit, you can see this is the automation rule. It will set the Lifecycle stage based on the company you create, meaning that when a new contact or a new company is created, it will automatically set the default and move it to the list for you, then set the Lifecycle stage to lead according to the rule. This means that when a new deal is created, the Lifecycle stage will automatically switch to opportunity. If you turn this off, it will no longer switch automatically. This is how HubSpot CRM operates. Once you understand this, you just need to create a rule so that the Lifecycle stage automatically jumps to opportunity. And finally, there's set Lifecycle stage when a deal is won, which means if a deal is won means successful, it will automatically move to customer. This setup works very well, so you shouldn't make any changes in this section. All right. So we're done now. Let's save it, right? Now it'll go back and check. It'll open up any random contact to see if this part has been updated, so we can check together. Now please scroll down to the Lifecycle state for me. At this point, it only shows the subscribe list of today's customers and others. You can see that, right? Okay, let's continue. It's easy, isn't it? Next, it'll customize the status list to make it suitable for an import-export business. There are some default settings in HubSpot. These fields are created by default because they're suitable for all companies, from large to small. For smaller businesses like ours, we can remove any fields that aren't necessary. So, in the status list, you'll see options like new, which means completely new, in progress, meaning you're currently working on it, maybe contacting them, and open deal, which means a deal has already been opened. This means a deal has already been opened or a quote has already been created. In qualify refers to leads that don't meet the quality criteria. These are customers who aren't interested or don't have a need for your product. Attempt to contact means you've tried to reach out to them but haven't been able to get in touch yet. Connect refers to leads where you've established a good connection or relationship with the customer, so you would move them into the connect stage. Short time means the timing is not right or the timing is not appropriate. Not good yet, not correct yet, and actually, for myself, or I think there are a few steps I can streamline a bit to make this list tighter, more concise, and easier to understand. For example, personally, I would keep this new in input. This is the status that means you've already contacted the customer. However, I would suggest changing this in progress to potential. What does potential mean? Potential refers to any list of prospects that you think have potential, whether you've contacted them or not. If you see that this customer has potential, you can put them in the potential status. This is how I manage my own list. So if you think this approach works for you, feel free to follow it. If not, you can keep using in progress, as either way is totally fine. Next is the open view status. Well, keep open view for sure, and well also keep qualified and attempt to contract. The check mark. And for bad timing, we should move all of those into unqualified. That means for any leads where you keep trying to contact them but can't get through, or if it's bad timing like you reach out at the wrong time or it ends up wasting your time, just put all of those into unqualified to make things easier. As for any leads that you think still have potential, you can keep them in the new section or in the open section. That's fine too. Here's how I do it. They'll show a step-by-step demo so you can follow and try. For the list status section, it's the same process. You'll click on this gear icon here. Then scroll down to the list section here. Then click on pipeline here. But for this list section, it isn't set up in the pipeline area. You need to set it up in the properties section. So please click on properties for me. Then right at the search properties box, please search for list status. Okay, my computer is a bit far away. Let me adjust it a little. Here, list status. When I click on list status, it appears here. Please click on it. You can't adjust the name of this status. It's locked and can't be edited. This property is of type hotspot and only some options can be modified, meaning you can't change this name. You can only adjust the content inside this status. Here, you'll see options like new, in progress, open, due, in quarter, fire at team, connect, and best timing. For any of these you want to adjust, just modify them. For example, in the slide, I have guided you. I will adjust the in progress status to MQL. The status in progress will become the button that we will use to track the fit. Pretend refers to the lists that you see as potential leads, so you can put all of them into pretend to take better care of them. Secondly, if you see something that's unnecessary, for example, like this booking check item I mentioned earlier, you can just remove it. Save changes, then save them. Here you can change the view type again. This attempt isn't necessary either. Alright. This beta mini isn't needed either. So these two aren't necessary. To delete a status or stage, check if it's being used. Only if it's not in use can you delete it. Then click delete to remove it. Now your status list is more streamlined with 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stages left. Then save your changes. After that, go back to the CM and check any form to see if the changes have been applied. Then, click here. Now you can see your status list right here. It has changed just the way you wanted. For example, this spot used to be in progress, but I've changed it to pretend. Is that okay? Pretty awesome, right? Finally, the last part, the most interesting, just the deal stage or pipeline. It tracks everything from sending a quote to closing the deal. Close means the deal is finalized. If closed, it's close won, meaning you got the contract. If rejected or lost, it's close lost. Stages start when you make an offer. Send sample contract, send payment term, close quam, close lost, because these states actually I have customized on the hotbox. Then I will open it and guide you on how you can customize according to the so-called bidding phase or the phase of the phases in your process. You can adjust them to fit what works best for your company. However, I recommend that, especially in the beginning, you should follow this flow, this pipeline, because this pipeline is already quite standard for export businesses. Also, in a bit, it'll add a lost reason field so that when a deal is marked as lost, meaning you select lost or failed, you can specify the reason. This way, later on, you'll know why a customer didn't buy when you made an offer. Could be because the price was too high, or maybe the customer wasn't ready at that time. Or maybe you couldn't deliver the goods on time, for example. So we'll have a section for the lost reason. Now, it'll guide you on how to adjust this view state. Simply go to the gear icon, right here. Scroll down and select Vi here. And please select the pipeline here for me. Here, you'll see the pipeline, which is like the different stages of an offer. On my screen, I've already customized it because I'm currently using this account. If this is your first time using Hotbox, it might look a little different, but you can adjust it to match mine as well. For example, if you want to add a new stage here, you can add a stage right at this spot. You can add anything you want. For instance, after the offer stage, I can add another one called Vi. Let's say I add a Vi step. This is just an example, and it'll delete it later. I'm just showing you how to add a new stage. So when a customer has Vi, there will be an additional step. Opportunity means that you can see the percentage of deals you win from the moment you send a quote to the customer until the customer closes the deal, that is, when the deal is closed. For example, if you set it at 30%, that means after you've sent a quote to the customer, the chance of closing the deal or generating revenue is about 30%. Then, when you move to the send sample stage, that is, when you send a sample, the win probability increases to 50%. And when the customer asks you to send a contract, the win probability goes up to 80%. At this point, it's considered a closed deal. That's how you set up the probability pillar here. You can also add a field, for instance, for a factory visit. Let's say you set that at 40%. If you want to move it up here, you just drag it and it will appear here. You can add or remove any stage in this process and customize it as you like. For example, if you want to rearrange it, you can. I encourage you to include those stages that are key. For example, you must always keep the offer stage, meaning the quotation stage, because when you create a new deal, it goes straight to this offer section. You also have to keep close won and close lost because later on, you'll use these stages to generate reports. Okay, so let's save these. After saving, just click Save. You can adjust these percentages as needed. For example, increase from 80% to 90%. When fully committed, set it to 100%. Note, 1% is not available. There are only 90 and 80%, so that's a bit limited. Okay, let's move on. Then you can click outside to check and see if your view state has been adjusted or not. You can also click on any scene to view it, or you can click on Vi right here. Display the views here, for example. Pick any view like this one. You can view the stage of that view right here. Here, when you click on this stage, you can see all of its phases like offer, visit, and the new ones we've just added. For example, if this customer has already visited, you can move them to the visit status. If you've already sent a sample or sent a contract to this customer, you just click on it. Later on, you'll have a feature called Forecast, which will help you predict your revenue. So, we've finished customizing the elements and components in the CRM to help you track and check in according to a process that fits your business. In particular, we're focusing here on import-export companies. There are a couple of important notes I'd like to share with you, just two small things to keep in mind. The framework I recommend when you're learning something new, or when you're applying new skills or learning new techniques, is to try following this process. Imitate, iterate, and finally innovate. I've also shared this process on my Facebook status. If any of you haven't connected with me on Facebook yet, feel free to add me. What does imitate mean? In Vietnamese, it's vai, to copy. We learn by imitating. When we learn something new, or when we pick up a new skill, we should try to imitate those who have already succeeded before us. Imitate maybe imitate 99% or even 100%. Do it exactly the way they do it at first. After that, you will iterate. Iterate means you practice over and over, repeating the actions until you master them, following the way they have shown you. Only after that should you start to innovate. Creativity comes at the very end. That's why, right now, I'm guiding you through a framework that has already been optimized by established institutions. So, at the beginning, please try to follow exactly as I instruct. Then, once you've practiced, gained experience, and understood the principles, you can start to customize things according to your own needs or the needs of your business. At first, if you don't understand anything yet, but you already start using ANOVA, then your process won't run smoothly. That's a small mistake. The second mistake is that this CM part only truly maximizes its benefits when you record, meaning you log all customer activity information into this CM. For example, when you make a quotation, you should also enter it into the CM, create a creative, save it in the CM, and make a note there. Now there's HubSpot Phone, so you can install the app on your phone and use it. You can do it on your computer, but if it's not convenient, use your phone. Creating a deal is quick and simple. When meeting a client, you'll have meeting notes, and you can save those notes directly on HubSpot as well. So after this, it'll open it up and show you right away how to do it quickly, step by step. For things like calls with customers, you should save information here. There are things like company profiles, meaning when you're learning about a customer, you'll have some basic information about them. Make sure to save that information in the CRM. That way, whenever you need it, open the CRM and you'll see everything right away. If you know a customer's birthday, you can save it in the CRM. Vai, for example, if your customers are in Vietnam, if you're working with customers here in Vietnam, on their birthday, you could give them a gift, a bouquet of flowers, or a small birthday present. They'll really appreciate it, and they'll feel a connection with you, which helps build a long-term working relationship. When you consistently carry out these activities and keep track of this information well, your CRM will truly maximize its effectiveness. For example, here, the interface of a contact record will have all the fields you need to save information. For example, there's a notes section where you can jot down any ideas, reminders, or details about a customer's profile. For instance, you might note that this customer, you'll write this in Vietnamese. This customer has never bought from Sai Phuc or purchased a product. So it'll note that down, and after I click Save, it will be stored in the CRM for you. Save the customer's phone number here. When you need it, just open this field to find it. For the company website, go to Company, then Details to see the info. I haven't made the company yet, but once you do, the website will show here. Create. QA New, create a sample company. Let's enter Viso Importcom. All right. Yes, that's right. Just click on it. The name is Viso Import. They'll create a new one, for example. When you create a company here and fill in all the company information, whenever you need it, you can just open it up and view everything. All the details will be right here. For example, it'll set the total number of employees to 10 and the annual revenue, let's say $500,000, just as an example. Just for fun, of course, but you can enter all the company information here. The more complete your CRM data is, the easier it will be for you to generate reports and review them later on. Even activities like calling customers or emailing them, you can email customers directly from here. In the next lesson, they'll have a separate section just for Vimeo to guide you further. Meetings. Here, meetings are also scheduled and carefully monitored and tracked. Everything you need is quite complete here. Note so when you call a customer, if there's any important information to remember, you can jot it down right here. For example, if you called at 5 in the afternoon, for instance, and discussed. In May, when you contact a customer and there are important details, fill them in here. When you need the information, you can find it. Go in, retrieve if there's only one source, this database. That way you won't lose data. This is also the method many businesses use. Later on, when they want to grow bigger, they use this CRM. For example, if your team has 5 members and 1 or 2 of them leave, all of your customer data will still be stored in this CRM. You can easily assign it to a new team member to continue the work. The sharing in this second video module will help you gain a clear understanding of the different sales components involved in building a sales process, and help you customize it according to your needs or your company's requirements. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.